All right, so I've been going down a little bit of a rabbit hole today, and I got something on my mind, and it's on the topic of recasting T'Challa. I'm at the point now where I want to talk about it. That's good. Today I'm drinking Dunkin' brand caramel flavored coffee. I love coffee, so links will be in the description. Anyway, it's funny because I've been watching a lot of videos this morning from some of my favorite YouTubers, and other Black YouTubers, African American YouTubers. I look at all types of videos, but sometimes I got to catch up with my peeps. One of my favorites is Emans movie reviews. Just My Opinion movie reviews. It's a bunch of them that I watch. I really like those channels and like to see their perspective on different things. They talk about a lot more stuff than I do. I generally just stick to my thoughts on different movies, but they'll get into more stuff like as far as news and casting and all of that kind of stuff. They get like really in depth on those type of topics, a lot more than I do, So I kind of went down a rabbit hole today about the recast T'Challa. Recently, some things happened, which is probably why this is coming up. Recently, if you don't know, there is a petition at change.org for recast T'Challa. Hashtag Recast Tchalla. This petition was started a while ago by Emans from Emans Movie Reviews. I'll put a link to that. I'll put a link to his channel and to the Change.org site where you can sign a petition if you want. Just recently, I think they got to about 45,000 signatures. And one of the reasons I think that this petition has been coming up again is because Chadwick Boseman's brother, Derek Boseman, in an interview basically said that he thinks that Chadwick Boseman would want the character recast, would want the character to live on, the character of T'Challa to live on, because if you look at a lot of the interviews in the past, Chadwick Boseman always looked at his characters, the characters he portrayed on screen. He wanted those characters to be more about the characters and not necessarily about him. He wanted to do justice to those characters, but he was in service of the characters and not necessarily the characters in service of him, which is why, most of the movies that he's been in where he's played a lot of like iconic characters and stuff like that, why he was so good, because he did those characters justice. He brought his talents in service of those characters and brought those characters on screen and did those characters justice. And because of him, those characters were portrayed extraordinarily well, but, he did it in service of those characters. You know what I'm saying? Which is, what his brother was basically saying in a recent interview was basically, Chadwick Boseman, he felt like his brother Chadwick would have wanted the character to live on because he did the work. He made that character a great character on screen, and he would like for that character to continue where he left off, and that's always been my thought on the character. And of course, when Chadwick first passed, rest in peace, he, of course I felt like, they need to give T'Challa, a break. You don't jump right out, right off the heels of his passing and throw somebody else on the screen like what he didn't mean anything and you just want to move on without anything. You have to give it time. You have to give it time. You have to give some type of, you got to do something to honor the actor, to honor Chadwick, to let him know how much we as the fans and Marvel and everybody else appreciated the work he done. You don't just dismiss it right off the bat. You let him know, you do something to let it known, the appreciation we have for what he did with T'Challa and Black Panther and everything. But at some point you have to continue. You have to continue. You have to pick up where he left off. You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't a lot of times you hear these comments where they be like, they're not going to recast T'Challa, and they think that they're doing Chadwick a service by not recasting him. And I think it's the complete opposite. I think you're doing a disservice. You're taking what he built and ending it and putting it off somewhere, never to bring it up again. You know what I'm saying? And just basically ending it. You know, all of the work he did ends right then. You know, he did the work. He brought the character out. He brought this character that's so iconic. You know, this is for a lot of people. And I think it is the only black superhero that was like a leading black superhero that is a king, runs a country, and was just a lead in a blockbuster film. And it's like just gave a lot of, you know, little black boys and girls someone to look up to. You know what I'm saying? That looks like them, you know, and up until T'Challa and Black Panther, there hasn't been anyone like that, another character like that. I mean, there's been like Blade, but I wouldn't necessarily say Blade. The Blade movies of the past, I think those are actually rated R, but they weren't like as big and as box office type of movies as a Marvel movie. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and it's like, you know, all of this has been done, you know, and now they want to just not recast him and just let the character just disappear. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't think that's right. You know what I'm saying? Chadwick Boseman didn't, you know, I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to bring out this character, bring out all of this, something for people to look up to, something for people to have on the screen to say, yo, this represents me. You know, he didn't do this just so that character could just go away. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like the character needs to be recast. And I'll give you like an example, because like sometimes when you hear people talking about it, you know, people are starting to come around on this a little more now than at first. But when you hear people talking about it, you know, people always talk about how it's so disrespectful to Chadwick to recast and everything. And I look at it like this, and I've always looked at it like this from the beginning. Okay. And this is a different thing. I'm just going to give a hypothetical situation just to give you some type of perspective as to how I see the character of T'Challa and Chadwick Boseman's involvement of this character. Okay. So now let's say you grew up in a neighborhood, right? Let's say you grew up in a neighborhood. The neighborhood is kind of like a low-income neighborhood. There's nothing much there. You got a lot of kids and stuff growing up in this neighborhood, and there's nothing there for them to do. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing for them to do in this neighborhood. There's only schools that they go to. They have to get bused way off somewhere. There's no parks, nothing for the kids to do in their neighborhood. And they grow up with nothing to do, a lot of idle time and nothing to help build creativity or keep their mind positive, just nothing like that going on. And then you have this guy, right? And it could be a woman. It doesn't necessarily have to be a man or a woman. It could be anybody. But you have this person that grew up in this neighborhood that comes into a time in that person's life where he or she has the means to do something about that. He's like, okay, I want to have something in my neighborhood that I grew up in so that the kids that's growing up now will have things to do. They'll have a place to go. They'll have, you know, sports, they'll have a park, they'll have all of this kind of stuff. So he comes up with this initiative to buy like a plot of land where there's like an open plot of land and build stuff on it, build a community center, build a baseball field, you know, build stuff like that to give the kids that live in that neighborhood that didn't have access to those things, give them that access, you know. So this person goes and he starts meeting with everybody, meeting with politicians, meeting with business owners. He has a plan. He's done the work. He knows what he needs to do to have it done. And he starts meeting with these people to try to get people to help, to buy in, to get people to donate, to get people to sponsor, to get the right licensings and permissions that he need. And he gets done and he starts doing all of this work and he's about 50% there and they start doing construction and everybody's excited about this new stuff that the kids are going to have something in their neighborhood for them to do. They're going to be able to join the local baseball team and compete against people and learn how to play baseball. They're going to be able to go to the community center and learn how to swim. And there's going to be like daycare for the mothers who can't necessarily afford the super expensive daycare that's in the rest of the city. Just all of that kind of stuff is going to be brought with this initiative that this person is is starting to build out in his city, in his hometown. And it's like about 50% done. And all of a sudden this person dies. Right now, you got all of the plans in play. You got the initiative going. Half of the buildings are already put up and everything, but the person who was heading this up dies. And what Marvel is doing would be like if they just says, okay, the person who was heading this up died. Everything is done now. Stop construction. Stop everything. All of the plans he had just ends right now. We're just going to leave everything like it is. You know what I'm saying? And just leave half-built buildings. None of the stuff he had planned and outlined or anything would go. And that's basically how it is with T'Challa. I mean, of course, right off the bat, you don't want to recast him and do a Black Panther 2. That would have been disrespectful. But give it some time and then continue on. Because like in my hypothetical situation, that guy he's not doing this for him. He's doing it for the kids. You know what I'm saying? He's doing it to give something back. And if he passes away and not able to finish, he would for sure hope that somebody else would take what he already laid down and finish it up for him. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I see Black Panther. I feel like the T'Challa character is the same way. You have this character that was brought about. You got all of these people that now have this character, this iconic character that's a part of their lives, dressing up as T'Challa and Black Panther for Halloween and wanting to be like him and that and this and that, and then now Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, passes away. And if you just now say, okay, that's the end of it, it takes all of the work he did so far, bringing this character to life and pretty much just dropping the ball with it, just sticking it underneath the bed and just saying, let's move on. I feel like that's more disrespectful than anything to just say, okay, we're not recasting him. Bye. T'Challa's gone. Forget about T'Challa now. You had your moment with your character. But that's the end of it, and I don't know. I just feel like they need to recast. I mean, like I said, which it's been a while now. So a recast in the next Black Panther movie or one after that, I feel like would be enough time at this point. I mean, you can never tell how much time is needed for things because as far as grieving and stuff, everybody grieve in their own way. You got to be careful about that, but I don't feel like it's to a point now where it's too soon at this point, Right off the bat, it would have been too soon. Like if they would have tried to do it like last year, Chadwick passed away in 2020. If they tried to do it in 2020 or in 2021, jump right off the bat and do it, then it kind of would have been a little insensitive. But now I feel like we're at the point now where we need to honor Chadwick and then continue on with the work that he's done so far. He right now, he's passing us the baton and we need to grab that baton and start running to the finish line, not swat the baton away and be like, the race is over. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just want to get up here and say a little bit about how I feel about this situation. Yeah, I think I've read and watched so much of it today that I just needed to say something about it. But yeah, if you want to sign the petition, go ahead. I'm gonna put a link in the show in the description. I'm gonna put a link to Emans' channel. Go check it out. He talks about it a lot more. He's probably a lot better at explaining, why we need to do it than I am. So go check it out. Check out some of his videos, and a link to the petition will be in the description too. So go check that out. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.